Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Adeptus Ridiculous podcast. My name is DK Diamantes, his name is Bricky, and stuff is happening. But before stuff happens, if you enjoyed today's episode and maybe you want to support the podcast, head over to patreon.com/AdeptusRidiculous, where you can get access to the Discord, bloopers if they happen. $15 tier gets you access to all of our posters in crispy digital form. Also, Shai is doing a sort of series about little mini snippets about her feelings on orc stuff. It's great. On YouTube, you can check out like a little compilation of some of the ones that were exclusive. Patreon.com/Adeptus Ridiculous. Bricky, welcome back to the world of the living.
I have returned from the Anime Expo, Los Angeles, California, also known as the convention I dislike the most.
Shocking. Man who hates Anime Expo. Incredible.
Anime Expo has kind of, I think, arrived in a too big to fail type situation, to the point where a lot of the places are just very much overpacked with people.
That's like the big thing that keeps me from Anime Expo is it looks like it's a sardine can, man. It looks awful.
The sardine can nature is the reason why I went in Anime Expo the first day just for Artist Alley for an hour, and I never went back in the entire time.
That's a good strat, man. That's a great strat.
I think it's a pretty good strat. But anywho, I have returned, and we are here for more Adeptus Ridiculous. Today's episode, I am going to preface by basically, I'm going to set some ground rules for our viewers, our lovely audience. If you've ever had you forgot about Glup Shido moment, you're gonna have one this episode. We are going to cover a major episode that we've said we were going to do for a while, and to the particular choice of ourselves and Possum, we wanted to make sure that we do, as we normally do in Adeptus Ridiculous, a nice top-down overview to whet your palate for the real stuff, which is the books and the various other media involving them. We will 100% have a why didn't X get mentioned, and it's just not the plan. We're a top-down overview, simple stuff. I feel like this applies to all of our episodes. However, sometimes certain things are more important, and so that's why I mentioned it. Anyway, would you like your quote?
I would love my quote.
Excellent. Yeah, it's going to be good when Bricky front loads excuses, but it's how. So sometimes you make the mention.
Yeah. When I start an episode like that, it's like, don't be a coward, DK. Tell them to go F themselves and do your shit, gang. Let's go. And it's
That is so true. I am being a bit of a hypocrite. I think you just do it more than I do, though, and that's why.
That's true. I am a little more. Yeah, I do front load with excuses a lot. That's fair.
For 1,100 years, I have fought and I have seen the darkness in our galaxy. I have seen the vileness of the alien and the heresy of the mutant. I have witnessed the sin of possession. I have seen all the evil that the galaxy harbors, and I have slain all whose presence defiles the Emperor. I have seen what you will see. I have fought what you must fight, and I have slain what you must slay.
Ooh, so I don't know how you could necessarily do a top-down episode of this, but once you said it's like, oh, I've been alive for 1,100 years fighting everything and blah, blah, immediately my mind went to Dante and him being alive too long, fighting everything, and God. But I feel like if it was Dante, the quote would be like, yeah, I've been fighting for 1,100 years. Why am I still alive? Please, somebody kill me. Kill me now.
Well, you're right. It is Dante, but also like, I think we're getting too far into the memery stuff with that world. But I think you're also correct.
Oh, so it is Dante?
Oh yeah. The other quote was featuring Dante from the Warhammer 40,000 franchise.
Let's go.
Let's go.
As soon as you were like, yeah, I've been alive for 1,100 years, I was like, Dante, eh? Huh? Dante? Dante's been alive a long time. Dante? Huh?
I mean, it also in the quote, it says mystery quote in quotes, it's a layup. So I'm glad you got it.
Well, yeah. I guess, yeah. Sometimes my brain does activate for certain things, yeah.
So yeah, I mean today's Dante. We've said we're going to do Dante forever. Commander Dante, Chapter Master Dante, like maybe the most famous Space Marine in all of like modern day Warhammer 40k. Like obviously not including Primarchs or anything like that, but
Sure.
Besides like Marnius Calgar, I guess.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe you
like,
could,
it's really
yeah,
popular.
like maybe you could argue like Titus because it's like popular now, but like,
sure,
that's
because
different.
That's a video game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody knows about Dante's big old metal grippers too, right? Everybody knows that one.
I definitely thought you were going to go with the death mask, but that was substantially worse than I thought I would have ever heard. Substantially worse.
Well, the only reason I say that is because the Poor Hammer game show, one of the question cards that came up was literally just zoomed in Dante's grippers, and I was like, "Wait, is that a fist? Is that a nope? It's his big metal grippers."
That is very awful. I'm
Yep.
glad I missed that for Anime Expo, I guess.
Yep.
But yes, today we are talking about I'm assuming it's Louis or not Luis or whatever, but Louis Dante, the current chapter master of the Blood Angels, the oldest living space marine, sometime rivaling certain dreadnoughts as well. It's Dante. I mean, he's a huge deal. It's why this script is ironically a little shorter than most of our scripts. Because we took the choice to do so, because there's too much on Dante, because he's Dante.
Right. Wow. Yeah, and thinking back to, I don't think I ever heard how Dante like started, like what his like history was. Like I just know sort of the basic like memery surrounding him, and sort of like I said in the quote, the memes about him just being like, "Oh my God, I'm still alive. This is awful. Please end me." Other than that, and him being a badass with the cool mask that's probably like magnetically sealed to his head and the service studs, I don't really know much about Dante.
Yeah, I mean, Dante is an extremely popular character. I know that Brad from the Poor Hammer podcast is a massive Dante fan. A buddy of mine, well, you know Atesh. He was 3D printed a Sanguinius Dante death mask for like a masquerade ball in LA, and it looked sick.
I was gonna say, that's a really cool idea, actually.
Yeah, he's a die-hard Blood Angels fan. Huge, like, Dante is the man. He's the boy. But yes, so today we're going to talk about the history of Dante, starting from the youth all the way to his existence as the Lord Regent of the Imperium, Nihilus. So Dante's youth has a really good little quote here from one of the books. I believe it's coming from Dante's father. It says, "Every boy that throws his life away for a dream of angelhood weakens the clan. You be an asset here, dead out there." "Not trying to be selfish," said Louis, his own temper responding to his father's. The change from boy to man had begun as he was getting bigger, more stubborn, and swifter to fury. "If I stay here, I can help Melina, maybe. If I become an angel, I can help everyone." His father's name, I believe, is Arius. Set the knife down and bowed his head. If, he said, "you will die." He turned around and leaned against the tiny kitchen work surface. "What makes you so special? Why do you think you can do it? Louis, you're small, you're not strong, and you're young. But most of all, you're too kind. To be an angel, to fight those wars. What kind of men do you think make such warriors? You have your mother's heart. Always you put others before yourself. Your mercy will kill you." And Dante responded, "Kindness is no vice."
I like it.
He's a good boy. He's a bit of a Boy Scout, you know?
Yeah, a bit of a Boy Scout. I also like that. Well, I don't know how realistic this is, but every time there's like a soldier backstory movie or book, there's always that moment with the parent where it's like, oh, if you go into the service and you go out to battle, you're going to die. You should stay here, live a happy life. You can help your mother. You can be a good boy and run the family business. Like, no, I was born for greater. I can help the world. You know, I kind of like that. That's how good boy Dante sort of starts out too.
Yeah, I mean, it's also, I mean, just kindness is no vice is a hard line.
Oh yeah, that's super hard.
So, good old Louis Dante, he was born around 447.M40. And for timeline wise, he was born about 14 years after Krieg ended up nuking itself, which means that he was about 486 when Krieg was then re-added back to the Imperium because they were fighting forever. Dante was born on Baal Secundus, known to the locals as Balfora. I actually don't know if that's a joke or not because I feel like I actually don't know. I feel like he's trying to hit me with a Balfora these nuts, but like I can't tell.
As soon as you said it, I was like, oh, Bricky's hitting me with a Balfora these nuts, right? Totally. Like, come on, there's no place called Balfora, right?
I genuinely can't tell, but it's fine. Which is so Baal Secundus is the second moon of the planet of Baal. It's also the same moon that Sanguinius landed on back when. And a reminder, Baal and its moons are like bad. During a dark age, a nuclear incident occurred that made both moons and the planet itself have atmospheres that are insanely horrific. Some a bit more clear, but most people need big protective suits to even function in like a basic sense. Combination of chemicals in the air, raiders on the ground, life is short and really difficult. So long story short, nobody wishes they were a baller, and the ballers that wish they were a baller got a little bit taller, and they try out for the Blood Angels.
I was waiting for a rabbit in a hat. I was nice. Well done.
Thank you. Unfortunately, the Nids ate your balls.
Oh no, not my balls.
That comes later. That comes from the devastation of Baal. But anyway,
that's true. I keep forgetting about the devastation of Baal.
Devastation of balls. Me when I'm Lance Armstrong.
Oh, that's nice. Damn.
Hey, he doped. It's fine.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah. So most of the population on Baal Secundus exists as scattered tribes with a few permanent settlements here and there. Dante was born into a nomadic tribe, and that made their living kind of in the salt deserts that were used to be oceans. They would harvest the salt in the deserts and then bring them to the main settlements to sell. And obviously this existence was very harsh, and the expected lifespan of these salt miners were very, very low. At the age of 7, Dante's mother died during childbirth, and said that the child was also stillborn, and this did pretty irreparable damage to Dante's father, Arius.
Oh God, yeah.
He became really paranoid, really withdrawn, very clingy to Dante, and since Dante had long expressed interest in becoming a blood angel, because they work in the salt deserts, and the Blood Angels Fortress Monastery kind of looks down on them, like this big eye in the corner. He grew up generally in a life of horrible suffering in the salt flats or mines or whatever. And then obviously we came kind of looking up at that and be like, oh, this is the future. So whenever, like I mentioned in the quote, whenever Dante's father whenever Dante would express interest in joining the Blood Angels, Dante's father would belittle him. Whenever he showed interest in this as a means generally to keep him nearby because he was terrified of losing the only family he had left.
Yeah, so the rest of them died in childbirth. I get it. that makes sense.
And he kept telling him, like, you could do the trials when you're old, you can do them when you're old, you can do them when you're older. But it didn't really stop Dante, and under the cover of night one night, he snuck away from the camp and made his way towards Angel's Fall, which is the cliffside where all the aspirants took place, and also happens to be where Sanguinius was found. To get to Angel's Fall, Dante would have to cross the Great Salt Wastes alone, and the conditions of the salt wastes were overwhelming, and crossing alone nearly killed him. But fortunately, while he was dying of thirst, Dante has first of many visions of the Sanguinor. You remember what the Sanguinor is?
Oh yeah, the Sanguinor is sort of like the Blood Angels version of, is it Saint Catherine for the sisters? That like she just kind of shows up in Celestine. Yeah, like he shows up in like their hour of greatest need. He wears like armor that's all gold, kind of looks like Sanguinius. He's got the wings and everything, and people are like, oh, maybe that's the rebirth of Sanguinius. He's showing up to in his chapter's time of greatest need, slays everything, says nothing, leaves. Right?
It's pretty close. Yeah, no doubt. That's actually pretty darn close. I'm actually a little shocked you know these things. Yeah, that was very, very good.
Because I remember thinking Sanguinor was really cool, and he was kind of just stuck in my brain a little bit.
No, I mean he's very cool. That's about right. He had a vision of the Sanguinor, and it guided Dante. Now he could have just been going crazy because he was dying of thirst, but
it guided more than likely.
It guided him. Yeah, but I mean that's not abnormal in the world of 40K to have like real visions.
That's true. That's a normal 40K thing to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the vision of the Sanguinor guided Dante to the corpse of a long-deceased traveler that was carrying a bunch of unopened water flasks. And so he got the water supplies, saved his life, and he continued his journey. Now, Dante, as an aspirant, he was quite young and really nothing remarkable, like physique-wise. For any other aspirant, the trials would probably prove to be fatal, but Dante's just general grit and resolve kind of kept him going through it. He showed actually a very vocal disgust for the other aspirants' desire for bloodshed and violence. He felt like it was very unbecoming of becoming a space marine, ironically.
Yeah.
But obviously he didn't know this.
He wouldn't, yeah.
For example, one of the final trials had Dante against his closest friend during, as a fight, as a friend named Florium. But the chaplain revealed to him that near the conclusion that this was in fact a fight to the death, and he demanded that Dante landed a killing blow on his friend, in which Dante then responded with this: "I did not come here for glory or for power. I came here to serve," said Louis Dante calmly. He felt cheated. After everything he had undergone, all he had suffered, all he had hoped, he was angriest, most of all at himself, for he had been a whisker away from spilling his friend's brains upon the floor for his own game. He hid it all and faced his death with dignity. I will have no part of evil. The chaplain's posture changed. He rested his weapon's head upon the floor and crossed his hands over its pommel. Then you have passed. I don't know why this makes me think of this. This is a real back end grab. But do you remember in the Naruto trials where you rank up or whatever, and you had that one dude who could control shadows, and he purposely didn't kill the lady, and that he was the only one who passed?
Oh, yeah, those the the Chunin exams or something?
Yeah, something like that.
I do remember Shadow Puppet dude, like Shikamaru or something.
Yeah, he I remember him freezing his opponent through a shadow in the floor or something, like a hole, and then he had a bunch of kunai or something, and she didn't, so he kind of held it up to her face, and it was just all right, I give up. And then
this is crazy that you're making an anime reference that I don't get because I didn't make it very far in Naruto.
I got to the a lot of the Orochimaru stuff. I don't know. Listen, man. Toonami, even though I don't like anime now, Toonami was my shit. Okay,
Toonami was banging back in the day. That's fair.
So
cool.
The chaplain revealed that the test was specifically selected for Dante and was known as the Test of Horus. A final test determined the measure of the aspirant's moral compass to see if they would always point true to the ideals of Sanguinius. And so Dante was offered an option to join the Blood Angels after passing, and he accepted literally immediately, brought to the fortress monastery of Baal, and faced the final trial, which is the winnowing of weariness. Basically, it means they need to meditate for 3 days and 3 nights. They can't speak, they can't move, and they can't sleep. For the first 2 days, Dante was chill. For the third day, things got a little rough, and Dante eventually fell asleep. He saw a bunch of visions of his angry father and also of his mother, who told him to spread his wings and fly. But he was also visited by the Sanguinor, who woke Dante right before the chaplain noticed he was asleep. And so he passed, and things worked out.
Damn, it's a good thing that Sanguinor woke him up, because if it was like, oh, damn, you fell asleep, no Dante, because you took a little nappy poo. Boy, how different would 40K and just the history of the Blood Angels be if that was just oh no, Dante failed that and he never became a Blood Angel and he was just, he went back to the Salt Flats, lived with his dad.
Yeah, I mean, that's, no, 100%. I mean,
well done, Sanguinor.
He's a big phony, but also, he's maybe not a big fat phony. He's, but the Sanguinor is, helping him.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So, as Dante rose through the ranks, he went through all the usual Blood Angel rituals. The first one is the ritual of insanguination, which is the one where they drink the gene seed of Sanguinius in the form of the synthesized blood, a sangria, if you will.
Nope.
Come on.
Nope. I'm not doing it. Nope.
Come on.
-2 with him, Shy. Oh, fine. It's all right. It was. I'll give it a 0, not a +2, not a -2. It's just neutral. It says, you know what? Not bad, not great, not the worst thing I've ever heard. It's fine. The sangria of Sanguinius. Oh, fine.
Yeah, 3 point something Rotkin. Not great, not terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so screw you, man. That was funny. Obviously it's also you drink it from the sanguinary chalice and you fall a year-long slumber in the ritualistic sarcophagus, right? You drink from the chalice, you experience the life and death of your Primarch for the duration of the year as the gene seed merges with their body, mostly done in silence. However, Dante kind of got the night terrors.
Yeah.
He had a bad time with this one. So during the year, Dante never actually truly was asleep.
Oh, no.
He had a bit of a longer than you think moment on that one.
That's unfortunate for him.
So he faded in and out of consciousness for the entire year, screaming the names of the long dead Primarchs, screaming names of long banished demons, and the names of the dark gods. He quite literally clawed at the coffin and slammed into it for the duration of the entire year. The priests definitely took notice of this. And when he finally emerged, they're kind of looking at this dude slamming into.
Yeah, and then they just hear Raccoon, Sanguinius, dunk, 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 dunk. Jesus.
Oh, wait, I have the perfect meme for this. Hold on. I have to get this one.
I said knocks on, just oh, excuse me. People are trying to sleep out here. If you could keep it down in your coffin, that'd be great.
Yes, I found the meme. This is just him.
That is him. Oh, Sanguinius. Yes. Perfect.
I'm sure.
Perfect.
I'm sure Shai will use the audio. It'll work out. Hell yeah. So eventually he emerged from the coffin, and all of the irradiated flaws were gone, and the insanguination was a success. It was remarked that him fighting through all the process may either mean he was a warrior of fated promise, or he was totally destined for failure. Clearly, we know where that went, but
Yep. They didn't know at the time, yeah.
So, skipping ahead a little bit, after a few years of conflict as a neophyte and a few more meetings with the Sanguinor, Dante became the 5th captain of the Blood Angels at the ripe old age of 306. This was a bit unexpected, as the presumed trajectory of Dante was very much believed to be quite minimal. Quote, "A rarely spoken truth, known only to the Blood Angels and their closest successor chapters, is that Dante was never destined to rise to the rank of commander. This warrior, who now stands astride the Imperium in the burnished armor of a living legend, was a line officer that ascended to the highest position during one of the Blood Angels' bleakest eras." So he was a good dude. You know, he rose through the ranks. The classic.
Yeah, classic striving up from nothing to become the greatest blood angel in history. Hell yeah,
So
brother.
the bleakest era in question was known as the Callius Insurrection. It was an insurrection that took place in the Callius section, and it seemed like a kind of a relatively minor issue with a somewhat problematic world. But it turned out the rebellion was insanely massive and involved a ton of Chaos Space Marine warbands, which is very rough. The Blood Angels dispatched 3 full companies into the war zone, and it went from several days to years. And in the final days, it went for the form of a void-based warfare with like 200 Blood Angels only surviving. Like basically the entire chapter council was completely eradicated, and Dante himself remained as the final captain of the Blood Angels, literally left alive. And so due to the line of succession being obliterated and all of his bosses being dead, he became chapter master. He didn't even fail upwards. Everyone else died.
Yeah, he was just the only one left. There was no other option for chapter master. It's just you. I guess by proxy of you surviving, you kind of get the job.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you gain promotions by making sure everyone else dies.
Yeah, convenient, Dante. Convenient.
Yeah, it was really bizarre when every single other Blood Angel chapter master conveniently committed suicide when the cameras weren't rolling.
Yeah, funny thing, no evidence. Okay,
yeah, no
Dante.
evidence. How very strange. Now, Dante, as chapter master, has seen an insane amount of battle. Due to his longevity, the stories of this battle have kind of become these various myths and legends. He 1v1 Scarbrand at the gates of Pandemonium and tore him in half. He cut down a bunch of numbers of the Night Worlds on the world of Terrium, which has been then rebuilt. The Second War of Armageddon was one of his most well-known things. If you may remember, he fought with the defenders of Hive Archeon and Tartarus to stop the orc hordes in the jungles.
Mm-hmm.
And the most significant of his battles came in the form of his own legion and the successors. The Callius insurrection did not have a good time with him and his numbers, and generally put a lot of his might into holding off civil wars within his own legion and kind of operating as the guy, the beacon of hope, the Dante. You know, kind of when everyone starts dying, there's a lot of people who want to fix shit, and so you know,
yeah, he's got to be the one that keeps it all on the up and up. Yep.
Dante is also not just well regarded and loved in his own legion, but he's very highly respected by other legions. He kind of has a similar but different playing field to people like Logan Grimnar and Marnius Calgar, all of them being, you know, the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
even other chapters know he's the guy, and you don't mess with him, and he's like the one.
Yeah, like Calgar, Logan Grimnar, Dante, like those are kind of the ones that Space Marines of other chapters talk of in Legend.
Yeah,
you know?
They're just a little I shouldn't say just a little, but they're one step below a Primarch in terms of like, whoa, living legends, almost god tier status, right?
I mean, not just like entirely because of power. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're strong, but more like what they've done, right?
Yeah.
Now, the devastation of Baal is a big part that they're coming up to, and this is when things get really rough. So the devastation of Baal took place during the Third Tyrannic War and was a main conflict with Hive Fleet Leviathan. So the fleet was storming towards Baal, and there were tons of attempts to deter it from hitting the Blood Angels' home. The worlds in the Krypton Shield were fortified to hold back any sort of advancement of the Hive Fleet. But of course, these only really served as like speed bumps because this was a full force fleet heading towards Baal.
Yeah, you don't really stop a Hive fleet. Like, you just hope that you're not in its path.
Yeah, I mean, over 50,000 bioships were like unencumbered by the blockade around the planet, and the cut of ships and Battle Brothers from another were all cut off. The Tyranids were completely eradicating successor chapters of the Blood Angels. Like, completely. I'm sure I don't know exactly which ones, but there's probably Blood Angel successor chapter, The Blood in the Balls, and they're like deceased. Like they're just gone.
The blood in the balls. I like it. I like it. Damn, we lost blood in the balls to the Tyranid Hive Fleet Leviathan. What a shame. What a shame.
And the Tyranids were beginning the consumption of the surfaces of the planets, of the moons, and Baal itself. The intervention of the Sanguinor itself proved to be genuinely ineffective, and the whole system was on its last legs. So, on Baal Prime, sorry, on Baal Prime,
we're such children. Oh my god!
I know. It's just I can't. Divine intervention. Yeah, well, it's Baal Secundus, Baal Fora, and Baal Prime. Divine intervention actually came from a very unlikely source. A tear in reality ushered forth the arrival of demons, led by the bloodthirster Kabanda. Do you remember Kabanda?
God, I do remember Kabanda. I feel like I'm gonna get him and Scarbrand mixed up. I don't remember if Kabanda is Scarbrand the one that got yeeted because he tried to step to corn, or is that Kabanda?
Kabanda, no, the one who got yeeted is Scarbrand. Kabanda is the one that Sanguinius fights on the gates.
Oh, okay, so okay, that's the one that he fights him and he gets kind of weakened, and that's why Horus can kill him. Kind of thing. Gotcha.
Well, I believe so. I mean, Sanguinius in most of the end bits of the Siege of Terra and stuff is like, wait a minute, I can see the future. I know when I die, and it ain't here, idiot. And he just like goes, he just goes insano mode.
That's true. He doesn't use his future sight the way Kurz does, right?
Yeah, no, Kurz
is looking for the guy that's gonna kill him. He's like, let me find him, and Sanguinius is like, oh. Horus is gonna kill me. Of course I can 1v1 Kabanda.
Yeah, I mean, I know when I'm gonna die. It's not here, so like,
and you don't do it, bitch.
Yeah, and he just like grabs Kabanda and then spirals him into a warp portal like a G.
Let's go.
But anyway, so Kabanda has specifically stated that no one, because he's the archenemy of Sanguinius, has the right to destroy the Blade Angels but him. If anyone's going to murder the last Blood Angels, it's his right. So he intercepted the Tyranids and opened the warp rift to prevent further Tyranid invasion, which is like cool. However, every single defender on Baal Prime was killed because also demons, Lamau.
Because that's such an interesting take though, that Kabanda is still just like no, my prey, and he actively stops the Tyranids. That's kind of wild, actually.
Yeah, he's, as Shai says,
what a petty bitch.
Oh, dude, I mean, it's a demon. The demons are so petty.
It's true. You're right. What am I thinking? It's a fucking bloodthirster.
So with every single defender of Baal Prime killed, the forces had to fall back to the moons. And even that became difficult because the chapters really started to end up succumbing to the Black Rage and began to just hurl themselves, the Tyranids and the demons of the warp. During all of this, Dante fought just tooth and nail against this whole stuff. So much so that he actually believed this would be the full end of Sanguinius's bloodline. Like, this is the moment the Blood Angels, the Legion, dies. But
yeah, against those odds and seeing everything that's happened, I don't blame him for thinking that this is just like it, and this is just going to be the valiant last stand.
The Battle of Baal had 30,000 Space Marines die, and 8 full chapters were just like blood in the balls, Baal blood, Blood Angels stored in the balls, triple ball. You know,
I don't know. I like the Blood Angels are stored in the balls. That one I'll give you a +2 on, actually.
Quad Krogan balls, like all the balls.
So many Space Marines to go out though, and so many chapters because there aren't that many Space Marines hanging around. To lose 30,000 is crazy numbers.
Yeah, I mean each chapter is 1,000. And so clearly many other chapters were there and died, but 8 of them were completely obliterated.
Yeah, that's insane. That's an insane amount of loss for the Imperium.
So in a final rally, though, here, Dante declared that their time was at an end and that they were Death Company now, and that their continuation was not theirs to determine. So what he felt was a final conversation with his failing legion. Dante then removed his mask and showed his true age. Because that was one of the things we did not touch on much, but I think we mentioned in a prior episode where Dante is, I don't want to say embarrassed, but like shameful of his age because he's such like a golden visage for everyone that looking old is bad.
Yeah, he wants to remain as like the beacon of hope, not look like some sort of addled old guy that you can't trust, right?
Yes. He removed his mask. There's only one image of maskless Dante that Shai can find, which, I mean, it's an old image, so like I don't really know what to make of it. He's got a big ass forehead, I guess.
Yeah, it's good art, and it's just he's just a dude that's maybe kind of old looking, but yeah, he's just a dude.
Yeah. Now he said after he removed his mask, he said he would go into the final battle not as the masked analog of his gene father, but as Commander Louis Dante, son of Baal. And he led the final push with the Marines who had the blood of their Primarch and cried, "Let the damned march with the damned." Editor's note this is from Possum here. For those who want to see one of the best written speeches in Warhammer 40,000, he highly recommends reading the full speech of the Devastation of Baal. It is an S+ tier motivational speech right up there with some of the cinematic greats. And I have also heard the same thing from Brad, that the final like speech from Dante is like one of the most inspiring scenes in a Warhammer book put to date.
Damn. We're gonna have to read that.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the Devastation of Baal is on the list, 100%.
Oh yeah.
So after a battle with the Swarm Lord that saw Dante taking a really bad hit, he believed that it was over for him. And at this point, the prospect of dying came as a relief because he was over 1,000 years old. He felt like his duty had truly been served, right? He really did it.
Oh,
he really did the best he could. And so as he lay dying, he saw a vision of his Primarch alongside the Sanguinor. And Sanguinius assured him that he had won his rest 1,000 times over, and he would love to free him from his mortal coil. And Dante begged him to do this, but Sanguinius kind of had other plans.
Oh.
He says, I cannot. I regret that I can do none of these things. I need you, Dante. Your suffering is not done. Sanguinius gripped Dante's face in both hands as strength flowed from the Primarch, driving out death's comforts and replacing it with pain. The scene rippled. He heard the shouts of Space Marines, felt the ghostly touch of living hands upon his armor, and Sanguinius faded. Please, no, Dante cried out. My lord, I have done enough. Please let me rest. The light was dying, and Sanguinius' smile carried with it the sorrows of 10,000 years. Darkness was returning, and the great angel disappeared into it, but his glorious voice lingered a moment. I am sorry, my son, that you cannot rest. Not yet. Live. Live, my son. And then Dante basically woke up screaming like, no. No, wait.
Yep. So that's the big me moment of, oh, great, I get to die, and nope, you get to keep suffering.
That's generally the meme moment. I've worked hard enough. I've been alive for 1,000 years. I've done my duty. And even Sanguinius is like brings him almost back to life in a way and say, sorry, man, you ain't done. I still need you.
Yeah, even Sanguinius was just like, yeah, you right. You have earned this, but I'm gonna need you for a couple more minutes, and yeah, that's unfortunate.
That's
Sorry,
one
Dante.
of the,
his updated mini is banging though. It's pretty cool.
His new mini is incredible. I love his new mini. It looks great. I mean, I never much like it when minis are held together by like the tiniest little step.
Oh yeah, the connection thing on the base. Yeah.
That always is a problem I have, but yeah, Dante is I mean that's the thing, right? It's the combination where memes and real are both kind of true. Like, yeah, Dante was wishing for death. He was tired. He was exhausted, etc. But the whole thing is that Sanguinius was like, "Nah, man." And obviously, I only have the excerpts from this part, but I remember poor Hammer Brad being like, "This is one of the most expressly emotional moments in a book he has read."
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it is funny Dante wants to die, but in reality, it is like genuinely heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's like it's Dante's most sorrowful moment probably because it's like, oh, I finally get to be with Dad. I get to rest. I've done everything I can, and it's like, well,
Sorry.
you're so close, but I can't let you.
So eventually, after all this, a massive fleet from the Indomitus Crusade, headed by Guilliman, arrived and liberated Baal. You know, it took enough time. That was the end of it. They obviously got back. It's unclear as to what happened and why the counteroffensive was so successful, because by the time the Ultramarines arrived, the Tyranid threat was relatively under control. But one clue that was found on the utterly devastated world of Baal Prime were piles of Tyranid skulls ritualistically created in the 8-pillared symbol of Khorne and Kabanda.
Ah, okay. Okay. So the Ultramarines were kind of like the police that showed up just a little too late. It's like, oh yeah, the reinforcements have arrived. It's like, guys, we already have it under control. Come on.
Yeah.
Couldn't you show up like 10 minutes ago?
Khorne demons literally were like, sorry, we're gonna kill you later.
Yeah.
Like, keep living a little longer, buddy. We're
coming.
Back.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
So definitely a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, like we mentioned earlier, 12 chapter masters were killed. 8 chapters are completely eradicated. 6 more almost extinct. 1 sanguinary guard survived. And the arrival of the Indomitus Crusade also brought Call, who then, brought the Primaris project and, showing the courage and valor that Dante showed at Baal, Guilliman declared him the new regent of the Imperium Nihilus. You may remember that there's like the 2 parts of Imperium Nihilus and Imperium, I think, Secundus.
Mm-hmm.
Because
they got split in 2, right?
But I think Nihilus is the bad one. I think that's the worst one.
Yeah, where they're like really, really cut off. They're in like the sort of upper portion with all the warp bullshit, and Guilliman gets the sort of bottom portion that it's still not great, but it's way better than the top portion. Yeah,
I mean the top portion is where Baal is, and the bottom portion is where Terra is. So it kind of makes sense in that world. But
yeah.
So yeah, Dante gets to be in charge of hell. Have fun, man.
Congratulations on your new post. Dante's like, are we sure I can't die, guys? Are we 100% sure on the me living thing? Because I don't like this.
Yeah, it doesn't probably feel that good, Guilliman arriving and being like, all right, buddy, get to work.
Great.
But Dante saw the almost total extinction of his chapters and his own life and is now witnessing them being rebuilt. Having the title of Regent, it kind of actually revitalized Dante in a weird way. I mean, he's in charge of hell, but it had this more of like, this little bit of a fresh sense of hope for the future. So much like the rest of the chapters and successors, Dante went through the insane treatment of becoming a Primaris Marine. It was successful despite his age, which was quite shocking. And so Dante now never stood taller, both figuratively and literally.
Literally, yeah.
Because finally he wishes he was a baller. So now not only was he a baller, but he did become a little bit taller.
Quite literally. Let's go. Good for you, Dante. Finally some good things happening to you, buddy.
I mean, he wishes he was a baller. He wishes he was a little bit taller. And the dude got it. Get on your grind set. Get on your fucking grind, everyone. Look at Dante.
Get on that Dante grind set. Is a baller, is a little taller. Just do it. Just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams.
Obviously, with everything going on and how much adversity they had to deal with, one other thing was pushing Dante forward. Recorded in the Scrolls of Sanguinius are stories of the Primarch in a great battle that overshadows all other battles that have been faced to this point. In this battle, one golden warrior will stand between the Emperor and total darkness. For generations, the Blood Angels believe that this was Sanguinius, predicting his own death and final moments, but Dante believes otherwise. Deep down, he believes that this is his fate. He will be the one who stands between obliteration and the Empire, or the Emperor himself, and this revitalization in his life has further cemented this belief. And of course, this brings us to the modern day of the Arcs of Omen campaign and his chance encounter with Lionel Johnson. Dante was the first high-ranking official in the Imperium that the Lion encountered, which you may remember at the end of the Son of the Forest.
Right. I'd almost forgotten about that, actually.
Now, this meeting, of course, started off on the wrong foot because the Lion seeing Dante wear the mask of his dead brother did not make him very happy.
Right, why are you wearing my brother's face?
But it also did not help when Dante said, and I quote, "If you will forgive me, Lord, you are older than I expected," Dante says, still on one knee. "But to have so readily and unprompted recognized the face of our Gene Father says much. Besides, I have served the Emperor for over 1,000 years, and I have yet to meet a being with the same bearing as a Primarch, save for another Primarch," which was the showing that Gilliman was still alive, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Dante is currently. Obviously, and I should make this so very clear, the book Dante and the Devastation of Baal books are considered must-reads. They are considered some of the best Space Marine novels out there in a world where there are a million Space Marine novels, and are basically the Night Lord omnibus for Blood Angel fans.
Oh, so it's these books that really, like, once you read them, you are completely indoctrinated to Blood Angels because, oh my God, look at what Dante did. Devastation of Baal. Oh, that speech. Oh, man. These are like the big ones, huh?
I have never met a Blood Angel player where if I were like, yeah, man, I just think Dante is kind of a bad character, who they will not like fist fight me in a parking lot. They will beat the shit out of me.
Has anyone ever said that Dante is a bad character, I wonder? Because it doesn't, like...
Everyone, like, the problem with the internet is that everyone can have an opinion when not everyone deserves to. And so, like...
Has anyone ever said it not trying to rage bait, though? I guess that's the better question. Anyone ever said it in earnest?
Has anyone besides, like, a Russian bot said it? I don't know.
Exactly.
An evil bot trying to, like, make shit on Facebook. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. All I've heard is positive things about Dante, and obviously the memes of, oh my God, please let me die already.
Yeah, those are the two main memes. But also the dude he's kind of a baller.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, just to round this out, Dante's weapons and armor are pretty neat. He has a fancy artificer armor that's been around for a very long time because it looks nice because you're supposed to describe him as a golden angel on the battlefield. Of course, Dante's mask is the death mask of Sanguinius itself. It was molded from the body of the fallen Primarch and encapsulates his final moments of hatred, disgust, and pain upon looking at what had become of Horus. The mask also has something called the Halo Mortalis, which allows it's a psychic energy field, like waves of potent hatred, to either cause enemies to be paralyzed with terror or run away in a panic.
Nice,
basically,
nice.
The energy flowing from the mask makes it almost as if it looks alive on the field of battle, and it looks like that the helmet is screaming cries of battle along with Dante itself, as well as the red teardrop, which has obviously become synonymous with the Blood Angel, which is actually suspended stasis blood from Sanguinius himself on that teardrop.
Oh, that's pretty dope. That's
pretty dope.
I thought it was just a cool logo. It has actually Sanguinius blood, huh?
Yeah.
Sick.
He also has the Axe Mortalis, which is his main weapon. It was made by Chief Artificer Metroculus following the Horus Heresy. which he forged out of anguish. The idea that Sanguinius died at the hands of the traitors made him very unsettled, so he wanted to create a weapon that could slay heretic Astartes, quote, like the dogs they were.
Nice.
And then he's got a fancy little inferno pistol called the Perdition, which is just like an old like Dark Age technology pistol.
Mm-hmm.
It's inferno pistols are like little melta pistols in a way, but his is just souped up.
Ooh, that Joy Toy figure is nice. Actually, sheesh.
Yeah. He is the boy.
He is.
And
he
then,
is.
like for example, also like Dante for the tabletop, for example, he's like his infernal pistol, the Perdition, is got some extra power. His axe Mortalis has a ton of attacks and hits very hard. It's very much also tailor made to kill Space Marines at its strength and damage.
It should be.
Yeah, like a lot of times you'll have a fancy character that will do like 5 attacks at 7 strength, 2 AP, 3 damage or whatever. Him, it's a ton of attacks at 8, 3, 2. 2 damage is normally how much health Space Marines have. The armor penetration is a little bit higher, which is good for Space Marine armor. And the strength is exactly 2 times Space Marine, which means he wounds them on 2s, not 3s. So it's like clearly made to kill Space Marines.
So if you're fighting another Space Marine chapter, or I guess Chaos Space Marines, and you're a Blood Angels player, you want Dante. You are fielding Dante. No question.
I mean, currently Dante is not only a good model, but he is also like balanced well. I'd say that I don't know if every list runs him, but like he is not a bad choice.
Okay.
He has a fun rule, which is at the start of the fight phase, every enemy within 6 inches takes like a battle shock test because that's the death mask.
Battle shock. We love battle shock.
We really don't love battle shock, but it's and obviously he has some other rules like +1 to advance and charge, shit like that.
Hell yeah.
You could run him with like Sanguinary Guard, for example, to be all like fancy pantsy.
I always love hearing when a mini is like accurate to like how they are in lore, right? Like where he's got like, the axe does more damage against Space Marines because that's what it's for. It's for heretic Space Marines, and like the mask does like the battle shock because that's what it's for. I like seeing that. That's cool that it's like there's that transition into tabletop.
But yeah, I mean, for the most part, like that's the general the up and down of Dante. If we're being honest, the dude seems awesome. Everyone loves him. He looks cool. His mini is cool. I feel like he's one of the few characters that just is universally positive across all avenues. And those who already love Dante will be here and be like, "Yep, that's my boy." And those who have not heard much about Dante, I mean, huge recommendations to read Devastation of Baal and Dante, because I mean, Possum multiple times in this script was like, damn, people really got to read these books.
All right, well, there you go. If Possum recommends it, and Possum's read like everything, like all of it.
Yeah.
So if it's got that glowing recommendation from him, I'm just like, yep, I'm sold.
I'm pretty sure one of the Lore Crimes guys, either the Amber King or Remembrancer, was saying the same thing. They're like, hey, we gotta you gotta read these.
You gotta,
and they've read every single book.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, that's the stuff. I don't really have any other things additionally past this besides more the bricks are stored in the balls stuff.
Oh, I don't forget to read Flesh and Steel. I haven't even started it yet because until this moment, I forgot we were doing it.
Flesh and Steel.
Flesh and Steel. My
Flesh and
God.
Steel. Chicken jockey.